Here we go. All right.
Eh,
Okay, everybody, welcome to the Damn Black Attack podcast for the first time. Definitely not the last time. He doesn't know that yet, but decision I made for him. He is an amazing personal trainer. He is
oh my
my
gosh.
trainer, my
Oh,
coach, my
oh,
confidant, Mr. Tyler Thomas. Um,
yes. Hello.
you're the host, the co-host of the Jock Talk podcast, a great fitness podcast with your co-host Cricket Hodges, also
Yep.
trainer at and the owner of your gym, Go Tribe Gym. Great gym in Los Angeles. I go there. Cannot recommend them enough. I've been training
Yes,
there.
sir.
Best training experience of my life.
Thank you.
I
Thank
say
you.
that sincerely. So anyway, Tyler, I had
Yes.
this idea for this podcast since I said this on the first pod that I have this vision in my head that I want to be like way more jacked. You know what I mean?
hmm hmm
And you can see if you check out the video of this pod, Tyler's looking pretty good. Uh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but I've said, you know what? I want to be. I say a bodybuilder jacked by 40. Okay, now it sounds nuts. I'm 36 years
I,
old now.
he's 30. That's very important to note that you're currently 36.
Absolutely. I'm 36 years now. So, I mean, I'm giving myself a 4 year runway here. Okay. I don't know what happened the past 16 years, whatever. Let's not get into that. Why I shouldn't do that when my body was naturally on steroids. Forget about that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but I figure for this podcast, fitness has become kind of a bigger part of my life. I think it's also part of this podcast is about like I want to get more mature. I'm looking to grow up on mic here a little bit, become a man, if you will, and I want to take my health more seriously in that way.
hmm
Not to mention, I love pro wrestlers. All my heroes are jacked up guys. So, I'm trying to
Most of my heroes are also jacked, so I understand. So,
right. And so I think I have the benefit here in LA. I have access to all you Hollywood elite trainers. And so, yeah, I figured I would talk to you about me a little bit, but also about fitness in general. And we'll keep checking back in with you to see if you keep me honest for my goal of 4 years of becoming bodybuilder jacked. But anyway,
we have a
that's,
deal, sir.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
down.
yeah. Well, you just said that. So, first thing I want to ask you, it said like, why? For me, it said like all my heroes are always Jack guys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
was that similar for you?
I mean, I was also a wrestling fan. That was kind of
Yeah,
how me and you like connected in the
yeah,
beginning was like wrestling. So yeah, growing up, like you know, Steve Austin. I'm from Southeast Texas,
yeah.
and so Steve Austin was just that dude to me. I wanted when I was younger, I wanted to have a neck like
Right.
Steve Austin. Steve Austin's neck is like a fucking tree stump. Uh, I wanted to look like Shelton Benjamin back in the mid to late 2000s
Oh yeah,
is another one.
bro.
He
I
was
saw
he
him
was
recently. He walked by me, sized him up. He's
you looked him up and down. Yeah,
I,
Shelton
I was
Benjamin's fucking
backstage at WWE. My buddy got me back there, and he walked by me, and
uh
I just did. All the wrestlers were walking by me. I'm just scanning them,
yeah,
just like
sizing
the
him up.
like T1000. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Can I
yeah,
get quads like this Triple H fella? Yeah, so yeah, growing up, I definitely admired like all the all these jacked
right.
wrestlers. So that was certainly a part of what got me into fitness. But I would say the main thing that kept me in was really more of like the mental health benefits. I know, like you know, I definitely lean into like the douchiness of being like a bro and flexing in mirrors and shit like that,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but I find it extremely beneficial from like for my mental health, and also I've learned some of my most valuable like life lessons from working out. Uh, that, sometimes in life, I think this is a good metaphor for our current situation. Shout out to
Right.
COVID-19. You have to deal with some shit that doesn't feel good, but it's good for you, which
Right.
is working out. It's,
I, I,
you
I
shouldn't necessarily. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying you just hit like something I was just thinking
Hmm.
about when we started recording. Like literally, I had this day today where I accidentally broke my car, the bumper. I like went over a curb, it smashed the whole bumper off. The lease is up in a month, so now I got to fix it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
fuck.
right, and I'm already getting something else fixed. It's been delayed, and then like I'm having tech issues with the podcast, and you're like, anytime I have any kind of stuff like that, my like it's so unfair the way fitness works because uh like I want to toss working out. Like I'm like, oh, I'm too stressed. I'm not working out today. Like it goes, and I'm
Right.
gonna eat like shit today. All that goes. But then also on the flip
Mhm.
side, tying into what you say, I feel 5 million times better when I do work out. I can control my anxiety. I can see,
Mhm.
that it's not so bad. I'll get it fixed. People are way fucking worse off than me right
Yep.
now, and I'm yelling about my bumper, slamming doors like a fucking douche. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
It
And so
spirals, is what I'm saying.
right, and it's okay for you to
Right.
be like, man, this fucking sucks. Dealing with this fucking sucks. Uh, Doing another set fucking sucks. It
Right.
hurts. It doesn't feel good. It's not the most pleasurable experience that you can have. But again, it's good for you. So,
Right.
and I really have carried that mindset with me just in life in general. Like my move to Los Angeles, I think was largely influenced by all the years that I spent in the gym. And that
Right.
when I would work out, especially when I was powerlifting, anytime I would get a little scared or sometimes really scared on a lift, like that kind of
Yeah.
shit goes through your head. Is this the deadlift where I snap my spine up?
Oh
Am
my
I
God. I
going
have
to,
that all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
squat in particular, right? Like you get underneath a heavy barbell and you're like, is this the time when I'm not going to be able to get back up and
Right.
have to dump the bar and be embarrassed? But then you do it, right? You still try it and then you
Right.
conquer it. And it's like that builds up a muscle in your mind that says, yes, I'm scared. That's okay. I'm still going to plow forward. I'm still going to move forward. And again, that carries with you outside the gym.
Right.
Um,
And especially like with all the stuff that I do, which essentially is like, I don't know. I guess I'm a dream chaser. What do you call whatever the fuck I do?
mhm.
Being a comedian, just you have to constantly like believe in yourself and create your own pathways, and it's very
Right.
stressful.
Yeah.
For me, there's something
Yeah.
you told me exactly what you said right now that always stuck with me is that you're like, yeah, yeah. You said you're like, if you start your day, this is the most broy shit ever. But if you start your day with a lift that you were scared of, you squat 300 pounds, 7 in the morning. That's you already banged out the hardest thing in your day. Then,
Right.
right?
All
You
this other
conk
shit just fails in comparison after
right.
that, you know?
So,
Yeah.
so before this quarantine happened, I was in the gym. I was pretty disciplined, and we'll get into like how quarantine affects all this. It's partially why I want to have you here, and what I want people to hear about is like how do we take care of ourselves in this weird time.
Yeah.
Is like I literally benched 305. I squatted on my back 305 pounds 4 times, which for me is unheard of. And then now I'm like, it's crazy how it goes away. Now I'm so scared to put that kind of weight on my back again when we
Yep.
come back into it.
Right. Yeah.
But I think
And
that
then
fear is like a metaphor for everything
for
else in your
life.
life. Right.
Yeah. And we have for whatever reason at the gym, Go Tribe here in Los Angeles, we have a really large membership of comedians. Like
Right.
probably like half of our 160 members,
Right.
half, maybe like a fourth
Right.
to a half are all comedians. And I've told these people before, y'all do the scariest shit in the world to me. I couldn't imagine going up, no, seriously, going up. Listen, the two professions I'm most scared of
Yeah.
are stand-up comedy
Right.
and fighting, professional fighting,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like UFC cage fighting,
cage fighting, boxing,
boxing.
fucking judo, any fight sport where there are very dire consequences. And stand-up comedy just seems
Right.
fucking like walking out there, being the one person on the stage, usually. Like I've done a bunch of theater stuff, and having other people out there kind of removes a lot of the, jitters and
Right.
fear because you're in it together, so to speak.
Right.
Stand-up comedy is an army of one. It's just you and all these people fucking looking up at you with those goofy faces that you have to look at when you're on stage,
Right.
and you got to make them laugh. And some of them have decided that they're not gonna laugh.
Right.
I don't give a fuck how good your joke is. You're
Right.
not gonna, and you got to deal with that and them affecting the other people. And then the waiters bringing the tab in the middle of one of your bits, right? That kind
Right.
of shit, right? That
Well, it is
frightening.
right. It is funny how that works, and I do think that's part of why, like, I always seek, like, to me, that perspective. Yeah, I mean, oh, by the way, there's always a fear of, not a fear of performing, but there's always, you get into your comfort zone with this crowd or this club or this
Mhm.
stage, and I'm good there. But then there's always another stage. There's always another place. There's always some kind of audience or a night where you have like a weird vibe, or
Yep.
or sometimes there's a night with not a lot of people. So I'm saying that always happens, and I'm sure that's similar with you. But it is also why it's important. I do think personally why I believe in. Uh, uh, is seeking knowledge from other people, which sounds crazy, but I think so many people are like, fuck it, I don't need that, I don't need this, I don't need therapy, I don't need this. But it's like we should take it. I believe in taking advantage of professionals,
Yes. Yeah.
leveraging each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely use, like, and that's what I'm kind of in the process of, is like finding a person to help me with each like aspect of my life. And this is the person that I go to for that purpose, who knows so much more about this topic than I do,
Right.
that I may as well just ask them the questions instead of trying to do this all on my own.
Yeah.
And that's been a not doing it on my own has been definitely something I had to deal with in my adult life, especially these last few years living here in LA. It's been a motherfucker.
Right. I mean, there's also, I find that I have a stubbornness in the gym that also translates completely to my life, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that workout. Like that workout is not the fun one. Like your brain's like, I like
Right? Yeah.
benching, or right, like
Yeah.
whatever the
Right.
sexier lifts are. It's like
Yeah.
squatting,
Yeah.
benching, like
Yeah.
this. I don't know what the other ones are. I think it's just those two, right? But
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
you're like, no, do a good morning, right? And then I'm like, I
Yep.
don't want to fucking do a good morning, which is just basically like a bow, right? It's like saying good morning to someone. That's why it's called that kind of move.
Good morning.
Uh,
Yep. Uh-huh.
and so, but then you do it and you start being, wow, I didn't think I could move that way. I'm sore in a completely different way where I thought I was done getting sore. And then I feel like that's like getting yourself out of your comfort zone in the same way. So I think that the mental benefits of working out are they're so high in so many ways.
Yeah.
But they do. But the thing is, working out does hurt, man. Like
It
so,
does hurt. Yeah.
so going to a gym. Let's say people out there, they take a lot of classes and whatnot. Right now, I think if you go into a Soul Cycle or something, whatever you do in your town, you can't do any of this stuff anymore, right? Well, I guess a lot of places are opening up.
Well,
So
on the gym side, not really.
right,
Gyms are going to be one of the last places to open, especially here in California. They're
right,
talking about maybe relaxing some of the lockdown rules pretty soon.
right.
But yeah, most people are working out from home right now, which presents an entirely new challenge. Is
Yeah,
the social aspect is also very important to working out, right? Like knowing people are looking at you puts you in a different frame of mind than if you're at home. And it does motivate, usually, most people, it motivates you to work a little bit harder or have a little bit better form because you know
right.
somebody's going to see. So, yeah, the home workouts thing, is tough mentally, especially like for you and all our members,
Yeah.
people coming from like the group class background, people who do like Soul Cycle
Yeah.
and are used to doing their fitness a certain way. It's tough. It's just
That
tough right now.
that's my point. It's why I brought it up. It's that
Yeah.
for me, it's like being social in the gym is everything to me.
Hmm.
I am not pandemic proof. You know, I am not. I mean, I go to the gym and I'm like, oh, I see all the same people, and then everybody's working out. So if I don't do it, I look like an asshole. You know what I mean? So that pushes
Exactly.
me. And then the train, I like the trainer calls you out. You come over and go, yo, move, like right.
Hmm.
So you know, you guys even take it a step further because we were heart rate monitors. So it's like your heart rate, your heart rate's in the gray, everybody's in the red. Everyone knows that you're a lazy shit, you know. So
Yeah.
or injured, but now I'm in quarantine, and I was like, man, this really, and that's why for the people, I just want to tell everyone who's listening, like, I am not someone who thrives at all working out at home. This is not
Hmm.
my wife is great at it. She goes outside, she puts on a video, she can pump. You know, she only child shit. You know what I mean? Uh,
Right. Yeah. 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 That's totally. And like I have an easier time working out by myself because I'm introverted by
right,
nature. Uh, More extroverted people are definitely having more trouble with this whole thing right now.
right.
Uh,
Like me.
the right, right, exactly, just like you.
I talk as
The
much as I work out. You know?
Yeah, he does, ladies and gentlemen. He certainly does. To the degree that sometimes I have to like just grab him gently by the shoulders and lead him back over to the squat rack.
It's
I
not
need
even a
another set,
joke.
please.
Sometimes I physically am pointed like I'm a dog, like literally, like, hey, you're supposed to be
Go
over
this
here,
way.
and then
All right, Dan,
I'm
please,
walking.
please, Dan, do another set. But for the people, what I've been telling clients, and
Right,
I'll just share this with your listeners. If you're an avid like health and fitness person, if you're used to working out a certain way,
right,
I would just encourage you to focus on trying to, as best you can, maintain where you're at right now.
right.
And that'll help you be more poised when this is over to start seeing the kind of results that you want to see again. But if you're used to lifting weights and now you're doing at home workouts, there's going to be some strength diminishment. There's going to be some muscle atrophy. It's going to happen. But again, that's okay. That's fine because everybody's losing muscle right now.
Right.
But don't
Not you.
stop. Well, I got lucky. I got lucky. I got lucky. I have a full spread here, so I've been still,
You got a full
able to get my
empty gym.
workouts in. Full empty gym all to
Yeah.
myself. It's been kind of nice. But yeah, try just I would just encourage you to try not to stop. Still try to maintain your routine
Hmm.
around your health and fitness as best you can. If you have certain meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner normally, try to keep that the same. If you
Yeah.
work out at a certain time of day, try to keep that the same. Try to keep your routine as best you can. And also, again, that'll help you mentally deal with this shit that we're all dealing with.
Yeah. So I've been like, I've been every day doing the video workouts that the gym provides. I do them. I keep them at my exact time I used to go to the gym, so that my schedule is stayed exactly the same. But every single day, it's a struggle. Like there's not one day I haven't woke up one time. I used to before this. I'd be like, oh, I go to the gym. I'd be excited to go sometimes. Not every day, but now working at home is every day is a battle with myself to roll out of bed, get to I work out on my little porch, and put on the video and do it. And I don't have, it's also really hard because I'm someone who enjoys lifting weights, like you're saying. And
Right.
I have 3 pound, right now I have a set of threes, okay? Let's put this in perspective for you guys, okay?
You poor
I
bastard.
I can bench 100 pound dumbbells for 10
Yes, you
before
can.
this,
I saw you
right?
do it. I saw you do it.
Okay,
Yes, you
so
can.
That's on a good day. I've had times I stop at 8 or whatever, but I have a video of me doing 10, okay? I told you I could squat a lot. I mean, this is about me, people. Are you understanding how strong I am? Do you understand that at 36 years old, this level of strength this is Hemsworth shit, baby.
Thor
Uh,
shit.
Not even Liam, Chris, okay?
Yeah. Fucking, I'm fat. Liam who? I'm shitting on that Liam
Oh,
Hemsworth.
fucking
Chris
Liam. Is
status
that the
over
Miley
here.
Cyrus one? Ridiculous.
That's
She's
the
with
Miley
him to get
Cyrus
to
one.
Chris. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it, people. Okay, believe me. Okay,
How you
no,
gonna
no,
just
no.
throw your Trump impression in there
Believe
like that?
me. There's something
Believe
going
me.
on. Okay,
I've been working on mine too, bro. I'm
well,
working on it.
I'm working to forget the guy, but here's the deal. So look, uh, but so okay. So what I'm saying is, it was a complete shock to the system for me.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact.
Shock the system.
Oh, you got
Uh,
drops and shit? You didn't tell me you had drops?
I bring over some of my sound drops from the Comedians of Wrestling podcast. That's for all the cowheads. You know what that is.
Man,
But
that's fire.
to me, I'm like, well, what's up? I got a pair of threes. This is my equipment at home right now. Okay. I have a pair of threes. I have a pair of twos. I have a band that snapped the second day of the quarantine. I have another band that's just yeah, it works. I have one more band. I have a jug of Dawn that I'm using as a kettlebell because it's got like one handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You do?
have my old coffee table that I put on my porch before the quarantine and was just an idiot about putting it out to the curb. And then now that is my box jump machine.
Yeah. Step ups, the box jumps, all that shit on the coffee table. Thank God you didn't throw it out.
And the only real piece of equipment I have had that's been my saving grace is I bought a Roman Reigns style weight vest.
Oh, oh
Which,
my God. Don't remind me about Roman Reigns. I was just at the point where I was forgetting about Roman. Have people started booing him again yet?
no, he hasn't been around because he is immunocompromised and so he can't show up to
Oh,
work.
right. Yeah, he
Okay,
couldn't.
so
Yeah, I
you
remember
look
seeing
like
that
an
story.
asshole. You look like an
Yeah, I
asshole.
guess so. He's not a good promo, regardless of what's going on. He's not a good promo.
Uh,
Trash.
oh man, for that, I would say for that behavior, you're going to hell. All right, but no, listen. So,
I'm just waiting on the Steve Austin glass break.
I don't have that.
Oh,
So look,
damn it. Yes.
I do you
Yeah.
one better. Full song.
Yeah.
All right, here's the deal. If it's wrestling, I got it. But look, so I'm talking about fitness, people. What was I talking about? Oh, the weight vest, which I buy for the Murph, because obviously I do some CrossFit shit. So I have a weight vest, and I wear it just to do so basically what I do essentially is what I would consider, to be honest, is more ladylike workout routines.
You
That
said it, not me, brother.
well, I mean, meaning more in the sense that it's more of the stuff that my wife does, more cardio based, more about max reps for being more toned and whatnot, where I'm always trying to bulk up. You know what I mean? In my head,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look like The Rock one day. You know?
Well, about that. Listen, you are very strong.
Yes.
You're a handsome fella,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
funny,
Give it to me.
talented,
Give it to me.
ambitious, driven. But there's no way. Maybe I should just talk about this in general. You think this would be worthwhile for me to talk about? The whole I want to look like such and such.
Yeah,
Would
I have that actually listed as a topic.
you do?
I
Perfect.
do have that as a topic. Let's talk about it. Yeah, and then we'll come back to pandemic fitness because I want people to feel what I want people to walk away with is like you could do something worthwhile at home if I could do it. Is my point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Sure.
The Rock, right? The
Yeah,
Rock and
so-
J Lo are the two, right? Is it those are the
Usually.
two people? It's women want to look like J Lo, and the men think they want to look like The Rock, right?
I've heard so typically like more like bro-ish type of guys will go The Rock, the overwhelming majority of what I've heard here in Los Angeles, like,
Yeah, go.
dun, dun, dun,
If you smell what the rock is cooking.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, I don't have J Lo's theme song, but yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, go. Sorry. Soundboard
So-
can be.
Back in Texas, The Rock was who I heard most of the time. Here in Los Angeles, who I typically hear is Brad Pitt from Fight Club, specifically Brad Pitt from Fight Club. I finally watched Fight Club not too long ago. And whether it's The Rock or Brad Pitt, your genetics will dictate how you're going to look as you get more muscular and as you
Right.
get leaner, right?
Right.
There are different insertion and attachment points for all of your muscles where you insert, right? So actually, that might be a good, give me a bicep.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how there's not really any space between the bottom of Dan's bicep and where his forearm starts. But I've got this gap right here.
This?
You see that? Yep.
Yeah.
But I've got this gap, meaning my
Yeah.
biceps attach at a higher point than yours do. So let's say me and you train our biceps the exact same way for 3 years, and we eat the exact same food, train the exact same way,
Right.
sleep the same amount, all the same stuff. After those years, your biceps will look differently than mine will,
Right.
just because of, again, your genetics.
Right.
So looking like Brad Pitt, looking like The Rock is not, it's just not a good goal to have. And we keep talking about mental health also. It's not good for your mental health either. If
To
you're
aspire to look like
chasing-
that. Just say it, Ty. Tell me. I want to hear it in plain words. You are not going to ever look like The Rock.
that, yes, you will never look like The Rock. However, I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
However,
Okay.
you can look
Right.
like great Dan Black.
Yeah. All right. I'll settle for that. Just like my wife settled for me. I could settle for me also. You know?
It's pretty much like it's your only option. And even like if you going past the biceps, another one I
Right.
typically hear is about abs, right? Everybody
Right.
wants the six pack. Everybody listening to this, you have a six pack already. Your abdominal wall is there, and
Right.
it looks that way, right? There's some variation in the way abs.
I kind of have a shit
But-
pack. I kind of like tell that six pack. Like I don't have like, even when I'm as lean as possible, I don't have what the Fight Club looking
Right,
abs. You know what
right,
I mean? I'm
yeah,
not genetically.
right.
So I've given up. I've given up on abs, and I'm focusing on bulk. Wait, what were we saying?
Don't
You
give
said
up. No.
Everybody has abs
That's what
already.
I'm saying. Everybody has abs already. If you didn't have an abdominal wall, you wouldn't be able to stand up right? So
Right.
you have abs. The problem is usually there's a layer of body fat that are over the abs. The other problem is usually that's the last place body fat goes is on the lower abdomen. That's the last place it leaves.
Right.
So the best thing that you can do to obtain abs is lose body fat. And some people, their body fat only needs to get to 12% and they can see their abs.
Right.
Other people need to get to 10. Other people need to get all the way to 8 before their abs are revealed. So again, like genetics is going to dictate a lot of most of
Right.
how you end up looking as you build muscle and lose body fat. So again, like don't the Tom Hardy body or the Chris Hemsworth Thor body, Chris Evans and Captain America, all these guys. And Jennifer Lopez is another common one that I hear. I've heard a lot of, have you ever heard of Tiana Taylor?
No.
She's a singer and a
She
rapper.
sounds fun.
And she has the most amazing body maybe since Janet Jackson. Six-pack
Right.
abs, big old booty.
Yeah.
And most women, if they get lean enough to have their abs revealed, they are going to lose the body fat that is on their glutes as well. So it usually doesn't look like that when you lose a lot of body fat.
Right.
So again, just try to strive toward being, I want to be more douchey than this statement I'm about to make, but try to move toward being the best version of yourself. That's the most worthwhile goal or the most worthwhile journey for you to take because it's achievable. You can look like a better version of yourself if that's
Right.
what you're aspiring to.
Right, and I actually am. I am comfortable with myself. Luckily, in that way, I'm not. I do have some. Some people are. I'm not like immune to it. Some people are completely comfortable with what they look like. They don't even like. I had friends who was just like they didn't even understand why you go to the gym. They're like, I don't give a shit what I look like. You went up a size, buy bigger pants. You know what I mean? I don't have that. I can feel really bad about myself. I know that about myself. Like it's I'm always trying to get in tune with myself, know myself. I know that like if I feel out of shape, I feel bad in every aspect of my life. So for me, it's not really optional, right? And that's something you have to accept. And I also think something I have to wrestle with is that I don't think that's like being vain or anything. I think it's all tied into you want to have I want to have a healthy image of myself, but that's just for me. Like this is the problem is that people nowadays, I feel like speak in terms of how everybody should be. It's like, you got to accept yourself, blah, blah, blah. Well, to be honest, there's part of me that does not that has higher standards for myself and how I'll feel about myself. So I think that's important for me to know. But I don't care what you do for you, except that I want people to live long, healthy lives, right? And for their loved ones. So obviously, I'm in favor of that. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. To add to your point, I disagree with people who view avid fitness people who work out 6 or 7 times a week,
Right.
are measuring their macros, all that kind of stuff. They can, I think, to outside lookers,
Right.
appear like vain, right?
Right.
But there's nothing wrong, one, with wanting to look good, and it does help you
There's
feel
nothing
better
wrong with
about yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people who want to look as good as they possibly can when they step out of their door every morning. There's nothing wrong.
Right, because I want to be the best looking version of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like I
Mm-hmm.
want to feel the best. So when I look at my body, I've never ever in my life held up, even though I joke about it a lot, I've never held up a picture of The Rock and been like, I want to be exactly shaped like this to the point where, no, but I did know when I was younger, I felt slightly body dysmorphic when I was like 20. And I would look at my hips being wider than my shoulders, and I was like, oh, I don't like the way this looks. I like the way it looks when dudes have wider shoulders and a smaller waist. So for me, I was like, oh, whatever. And then I started working out and realizing, oh, my shoulders were getting bigger and wider, and then I was proportioned better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel better about myself. I'm not ashamed of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah.
But it's weird if I'm like, well, I have to be shaped like this person, and it haunts me. Then that's a problem. I had my college roommate. My college roommate was the guy who got me into working out. I'm always forever grateful to him. My buddy Andrew Natter. He was a big muscle guy, and I lived with him. And he would go to the gym. We shared a kitchen, so it just was like infectious. Not to mention all my pro wrestling love. It's like, how could you not? Ultimate Warrior, my hero as a kid, the most yacked up dude on the planet. Well, not yacked up, jacked up. Yacked up's cocaine. He was also very yacked up.
Yacked up, yeah. Everybody back then
he was
doing
yacked
line
and
before their
jacked.
promos. Yeah. Ultimate War. Goldberg was the one for me.
Yeah.
He was probably the guy that I saw when I was a kid.
Goldberg. Oh my God.
Goldberg just made me go like every time, even still to this day, I'll sometimes go down like a hole on YouTube and just watch like old promos and matches and stuff. And Goldberg, when he spears someone and then hops up and he stomps and then does the thing where he screams and he rolls his traps up to his goddamn earlobes, bro.
Yeah, I love it.
Every time I see Goldberg, I'm like, God. I gotta do some shrugs today. I'm shrugging today.
Yeah, like if you see a hot woman, you're like, yo, I gotta go, like have sex or whatever, crank it, whatever you gotta do. But if you see a guy, you're like, oh fuck, man, I gotta go lift weights. It's insane.
I gotta go do some curls. That's obviously what I need to do.
I love women. I'm a straight man. I'm a married man. I love women. I always say, to me, There's nothing like a jacked up dude. You know, nothing is beautiful, nothing more beautiful than a yoked up guy. And I think that's just because I am a guy. So it's like it's the same. It's the same. It's shocking that how is Randy Orton the same gender as me, let alone the same species as me? Like, I mean,
Here's the other thing about Randy Orton is he
Wow.
hasn't aged. I don't think he's aged since like 2005 or whatever it was.
oh my god,
He still looks great. And I tell guys this, like, uh, for any of the gentlemen listening,
yeah.
if you
It's mostly
undertake,
gentlemen. Let's be real.
it's mostly gentlemen, yeah, wrestling and the whole thing, yeah, I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it. So any gentleman listening to this,
yeah.
this is a common thing I've run into over and over, especially when I started like making online content, writing and stuff like that. One of the first posts I wrote that like went viral,
Yeah.
got like 2.2 million views or something stupid like that.
That's awesome. I didn't know about that.
Was yeah. My writing's it's solid, and I'm getting back into it. But
Yeah.
I was asked a question about like how women feel about muscular men,
Right.
and like, are women more attracted to muscular men? And
Yeah.
I said, well, muscular women are. The average woman, I promise you, the average woman
Right.
doesn't really give a fuck about that. Like most straight women, so long as they aren't physically stronger than you are,
Right.
that's usually a turn off for a woman.
Yeah.
So long as that's not at play, they don't give a shit about how much you can bench press. We care about how
Oh
much
my
you can
God.
bench press. They don't give
Ty,
a fuck. They
I
don't
I
care.
I noticed this thing in my life that at the times, you know, when I was a single man, a man about town, if you will, or SARTM we call it, single and ready to mingle. But if I when I was a single guy, I'd always notice like there was times where I'd be like out of shape and I'd be like feel really bad about myself in terms of just like, you know, I know I'm not at my optimal self, you know, and my confidence is a little lower. I get more women. I noticed. And then when I was in like perfect conditioning, I would have like dry spells, and I realized it's because I was so focused on myself. You know what I mean? Like when I was the women, it was at a inverse relationship. Women did not like when I was focused on myself like that in that way. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they like it
The
more when I was a
only
humbled, the body fat, about 15% body fat. Dan, that's the women like. They don't like a nice 12%. No, 15. What am
they
I talking about? 15. I wish.
yeah
18,
yeah
20. I
yeah
mean, yeah,
yeah. It's like it's they don't care, y'all. I'm telling you, they don't care. Don't go into weightlifting with that as your reason. Is the point, right? Like, of course, every young straight, well, older straight dude
right,
wants to have or get female attention, right? The confidence that you can build, and also, again, that like that helped me a lot. The fear concept I was talking about earlier, like being scared to deadlift a certain weight and then doing it,
mhm.
that helped me with women and being like, I'm nervous to go talk to this
Like
girl,
asking them
admittedly.
out.
I'm scared that
Yeah,
she's going to shoot me down or, make fun of my face, whatever it might be. I'm scared to death. But what's like, she makes fun of me or says no, who gives a fuck? And
right.
then that helped, right? Like being able to get past that fear. But the bench press thing is, they don't care.
It's that's all. There's a reason that Triple H and China were a thing. You know,
Right. Right.
and you
Fucking
always
exactly.
see anytime you see one of those guys. I'm talking like anyone 250 and up of pure muscle. Those guys, their
Hmm.
wives or girlfriends are also bodybuilders, right?
Usually, yeah. That's usually how they go. Like women who are
Yeah.
avid into and very muscular, very strong. Dana Lynn Bailey.
No.
You know that. So she's a trainer and coach, but she's fucking jacked. She's huge.
Right.
And the first time I saw her husband in
Right.
one of her videos, I was like, oh, this guy was Triple H big, like
Right.
like 2006 Triple H
Yeah. Of course.
big.
Well,
You
you know,
know,
2000. I mean, 2000. If you go look back, feel free to pause this and Google. Go look at Triple H in like 2001. I mean, the guy it's incredible what he looks like.
Huge. A
I mean,
Batista
he's
back
got two
in
heads for his chest are just two heads.
two baby heads for
Watch Triple
chest
H's like
muscles.
WrestleMania 17, 18 Mania entrances, and you're
Yeah,
just like wow, it's
huge.
unbelievable. We
Yeah.
should study it. Anyway. All right, now I'm getting derailed by men's bodies again. It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Yeah, come on, man. Chill.
Happens a lot. But okay, well, it's funny. All right, 2 points. One thing also is it's interesting because I remember when I was younger, women having like muscle, we'd be like, oh, that's kind of like a turn off. And then now as I'm
Mhm.
older, I feel like more like a fit, like a woman with muscle on them. I'm more attracted to that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Is that the evolution
Well,
of fitness, or just getting older, or what is that?
it's probably I've had the same thing like as the years have passed. So I started uh, consistently weight training when I was
Right,
19. I am 26 now.
right.
Oh no, 27. I'm at the age where I'm starting to forget what age I am. I'm there.
That's just a
Uh,
pandemic, bro.
yeah,
Everyone's the same age in a pandemic.
Corona brain.
Yeah.
So I've been training for about 7 years consistently, 7 to 8 years consistently. And at the beginning, I was like that, where I was like, oh, the girls with all the muscles. Yeah. Now, I also find it more attractive. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'm not sure if it's that,
Do you
if
think?
it's,
I honestly have a theory. Do you think? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you
uh,
think actually it is tied to uh, us being like as a society less sexist? Do you think that it's an
that's
equality
an
thing that we
interesting,
could
yeah.
evolve like in a way
That,
where you're like that vision of women feels archaic and it actually affects your attraction? I don't know.
yeah,
This is something out of my pay grade by far.
that's, that's some deep shit. I like that theory though. There could be something to that. I think also on an individual level, because I still hear guys going, "Oh, this is the one I'll argue with a guy about." Like
Right,
if you say she's too muscular, all right, fine,
right,
that's you. That's how you feel. Cool. If a guy says, "I don't like when women have abs," regardless of what everything else is like, I don't like
ass.
when women have abs, abs.
Abs. Oh yeah, if they
Like
just
if
have
they have
abs.
a six
This guy's
pack,
like, I don't like women's to have buttholes or butts at all. No, no, I want women.
elbows. Her elbows are too pointy. I don't
Listen, there
like that
probably was a
pointy
time
elbow
where that
shit.
was true, where men were like, we need to figure out a way for women to stop having to use the bathroom. That's I mean, if you look at some of the shit, go 300 years ago. Anyway, all right.
Can we sew it up? But yeah, so I've also noted, and I love when women have abs. It's very attractive to me. I think also part of it is like I do this stuff for a living now, and health and fitness has become so much a part of my life that
Right.
I like have a respect for it. Like I
Yeah,
know
you
that
know what it
she's
takes.
right. I know she's putting in a lot of work, and that's attractive as well.
Right.
So it's probably a mix of several things.
Yeah. So okay. All right. Here's the thing I want to ask you. So, we need to talk about two things. We need to talk about me and pandemic, working out. So
Okay.
you recommend to people, and you kind of got to it, but you're saying like, let's say somebody has no resources, right? In terms of they don't even have a good space to work out. Really,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe next to their bed or something like at the minimal, no weights, nothing. But we're telling people, like, for your mental health, especially now in this uncertain time we live in, it's important to do something, right? What is your
Right.
recommendation to people who don't have the benefit of like you and me, who kind of like came into this pretty like with a routine, you know?
Yeah, already into it, so to speak. Yeah.
Right,
Um, so I would, for somebody who hasn't been doing anything
right,
leading into quarantine, I would tell you to just Google like at home workouts. You'll find something that will suffice.
right,
Something, 15 to 30 minutes. It doesn't have to. This is another thing is people feel like they, oh, I don't want to have to work out for 2 hours a day to see. No, you
right,
don't have to. Like if you are new to all this and you start working out 15 minutes a day, then that will benefit you.
right,
Again, from a mental health standpoint and also from your physical health, uh, from a physical health perspective. There's also emerging research showing that higher body fat percentages make a person more likely to contract and also experience the worst symptoms of coronavirus. There was we did a current event on the podcast
Right.
last week about there's a city in New Jersey. I forget the name, but their local government formulated like a fitness and health plan
Right.
loosely with a few workouts and some nutrition recommendations, and they sent it to their citizens and
Right.
said, "Hey, this will help one you not catch coronavirus. It'll help
Right.
your immune system. Two, if you do have it, it will help you not experience the symptoms as severely as you might have otherwise. So it's protective for numerous reasons. From if you take the vanity part and just fucking just throw it out
Right.
for your own sanity, especially right now, being stuck inside your apartment, condo, house, whatever it is, it'll help. It'll help you feel better about yourself. It'll help you feel better about that day. Find a workout on Google, 15 to 30 minutes, and knock that out 4 to 7 times a week. And I think what you will notice is if you just start light, small, over time, your ambition will kind of start to grow. It's like you'll find, I'm really feeling better with this 15 minutes a day workout thing that I'm doing.
Right.
Let me try 30. Let me try 45. Oh, the quarantine's over. Let me go get a gym membership. You know.
Right.
So just start small. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with starting small. There's no shame in starting. A lot of people get that all or nothing mindset around fitness. Like I need to do macros. I need to count my macronutrients and work out 2 hours a day to see results. And it's just not the case.
Right. That's all. That's really, really, really good advice. Is that it's not all or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing in life. And again, how the gym affects my actual life is like, I tend to get disheartened because I'm like an all or nothing style personality. I want to all in. I want to spend every hour a day working on something, and I want it to be perfect on the first shot. Like, you know, like with doing the pod right now, like I've had to change some of my technology because I'm now in my house. I lost my studio, and I'm like, well, I want it to be all that to be perfect right away. But then my internet needed to be upgraded. They needed to change a wire because I wasn't using the internet to stream as much. People are more at home internet, so I had to wait a week and a half for the internet guy to come, and then they had to install that. Then I needed to get a router. Like, everything takes time, and everything with fitness is exactly the same, and you learn to appreciate like integral growth, right?
Yeah,
Which is
you
the
learn to
key
appreciate
life, I feel like. It
absolutely. You
the
learn
best,
to appreciate the process. Excuse me for
yes,
interrupting. Like that, like the grind, the bit by bit, day by day, you're slowly but surely moving towards something,
right,
regardless of what that is. If you can get yourself in like that rhythm again, like the human mind, the human body is very rhythmic. There's a thing called the circadian rhythm.
mm-hmm.
Your hormones are based on your circadian rhythm. You will typically get hungry around the same times each day. If you're used to eating at 12 p.m. and then 12 p.m. rolls around and you don't consume something, you'll usually notice
Right,
that you start getting hungrier because of that rhythm. And it's all connected. All these things go with one another. Your mental and your physical health are not disconnected.
right,
They're not. They're they're a part of one another and they affect each other. So do something. Just something.
yeah.
Just get in
It's
15 minutes.
the best lesson I've ever had, and it's something I constantly struggle with, is that like if I see something I want to do, don't get disheartened by the mountain, right? Like
Right.
get excited about today's the day to start that journey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that in some way. And some of the things I've failed, or forget about failure. Sometimes you decide that's really not what you wanted to do, and then that's really difficult too. So, and all that, if you tie fitness into that, I think it's such an important foundation for it. Because even in the time that I've been working out with you guys, like I came in so much less strong. Like my strength was so much lower, crazy lower. But then also I had 6 months where I had to go and work on. I was working on Jamie's show. That's I don't know when it's coming out, but Jamie's wedding show, and I had to leave the gym and I was working literally 24 hours a day. I had the hardest schedule I've ever had, where literally shooting all day, 10 p.m., right, going back to the hotel, ordering room service, writing till 5 a.m., sleeping for 2 hours some days, right? Like,
Mhm.
it was like, you know what? There's no way that this is what's gonna. There's no way I'm gonna be able to keep my routine up, count my macros, blah blah blah, whatever.
Right.
Which we'll talk more about macros maybe on another episode
Sure.
if you'll come back, but
But
and on your
to
podcast. But I'm saying
yeah, and
still when I came
to
back, this is just my point. When I came back to the gym and I was able to come back and get back on my routine after I was done working on the show, I still had a lower, a higher benchmark, like a higher 0 point, right?
right, yeah, and that's what I'm saying about like trying to just for the people going into quarantine who already had a routine around their health and fitness and stuff like that. Just try to if you can keep that routine as much the same as possible within reason, of
Right,
course. Then your 0 point where you start from after this is over is going to be higher than it otherwise would have been. And
right,
to your point about that time, if you recall, we talked about okay, well, the macros ain't going to happen right now because you're putting in 20-hour days.
right,
It's just too much. So can we just get a food log? You don't have access to a full gym, full spread of bars, dumbbells, bands, cables, all that kind of stuff. So can we do 15 minutes in your hotel room or wherever you're at, 15 minutes on set,
right,
whatever it might be? Can you go off to the side and just knock out 10 minutes, something? You have to consider where your life is
right,
and then make your fitness goals kind of around that. If you just can't do, I said, don't do it. Just pull back a little bit, take a step back, say, what can I do? And try to assess the way to be most successful,
right,
right? So if you were kind of talking about this earlier as well, if you know that sitting your workout clothes out, like
right.
laying them out the day before, if you know that's kind of I hate using this term, but trigger
A trigger, yeah.
for for leading to these other behaviors
Yeah,
for leading to these other behaviors, then focus in on the thing that triggers these other behaviors that you're looking for example, laying your clothes out. For
right,
me, it's writing in my notebook before I start, like writing out my workout, each set, each rep. It's just something that I like to
hmm
do. The numbers appeal to me. So I write out my workout. And then once I write it, as I'm writing, of course, like I'm envisioning, okay, I'm going to do this much weight on this one, and then I'll get this many reps, and then I'll go for this over here.
right,
And it puts me in a frame of mind that I'm like, fucking, I can't wait to work out now. I can't wait to do this now.
right.
So look for those triggers.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Uh, uh, yeah, and so okay, so here's my last thing. So I want to tie this in to me. The last thing we'll end on is talking more about me. All right.
Absolutely.
Um.
Bro.
So okay, I okay. So I struggled a lot going into this pandemic on working out at home. I absolutely hate it. Love the gym. I love putting the weights on the bar. I lost all that, and I only have 3 pound weights. So I had to pull back on kind of my food, you know.
Mhm.
And I feel like also I'm stress eating during the whole quarantine thing. There's a lot of like just even small things, but before I can handle, now I can't handle it. They double stress me out, you know. And then also I'm fucking bored. Like eating is fun. My wife's here. We're cooking. We're baking. It's like I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even see how to end that. Like if we're just gonna sit in this house all day, you want to like yesterday we baked 2 desserts. I baked the dessert, and then Jamie baked the dessert.
We
Right?
baked a whole 2 desserts.
I mean, but I'm talking those are 2 cakes for 2 people. Now we didn't finish them, right? But I'm saying,
Keep going.
in terms of food, right?
Mhm.
it took me a while to like what I did in my brain was like, you know what, I kind of have to put the food on the back burner right now, which is not good. But I was like, to get the workout, which is so out of my comfort zone. But now I want to reintroduce food. Okay, I want to like be able to eat, and that doesn't mean I'm going to eat perfectly. That's how I'm going to fail. Is if I think like I'm just going to go completely perfect right now, you know. So, what do you recommend for me? Okay, for in terms of the eating? Should I, you know what I mean? Like, what's the best thing I could do? Should I
Best
just
thing you can.
try to cut out all sweets, or make it like a treat for myself, or you know what I'm saying?
So I like to put things in terms of like good, better, and best. The best thing is to probably the best thing is
Hmm.
to just not have any of it in your general vicinity
Right.
because, and again, this is, I like to coach from a perspective of, again, setting yourself up for
Success.
success, right? So removing even the question in your mind, if you never even ask yourself, am I going to eat a cake today? If it never enters your mind, then it never enters your mind. You won't even miss it.
Right.
So, not even having, like me personally, I just don't have anything that I know, 9 p.m. rolls around. I'm kind of hungry, about to go to bed, and there's a bag of Doritos. So for me, it's salty, crunchy stuff.
Right.
Doritos, crackers, cheese, all that.
Right.
So I just don't have it in there, period. Because I
No.
know if I get hungry late at night, I'm going to start, So the first thing I would say is just try to not have it in your place at all,
Right.
right? Any of the kind of stuff that you'll know you reach for. I would say the next, like down the list, if we go from best to better it would be to keep it in moderation. So if you can, like you said, have it as a treat.
Right.
And again, you got to know yourself. You have to have some self-awareness with this kind of stuff. So can you eat one piece of cake if you have a whole cake in your
No. So here's what I did do, and I wanted to run this by you. I didn't get to tell it to you, but I think it's good for the podcast. I learned about a thing called a mug cookie. You know what that is?
fridge?
Okay. So you basically make a single serving of cookie and you microwave it, right? So I found that my wife bakes a cake. Even if I ate one slice, I eat the cake the next day, right? And then I'll eat a lot of it throughout the day. If I go in the kitchen, boom, eat it, pop it in, right? And then
Mhm.
I'm like, well, what? I don't want to throw it out because I don't want to be wasteful. So what I do is I'll make, if I'm craving it, and I try to do it only on the weekend or whatever, is I make a single serving dessert for myself, microwave it, and then I eat only that, and then I know
Yeah.
what's in it, put less sugar in it, and it still fills the void for me. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a good approach. I like that. And
Okay.
that's again, like that's a good place. That's a good balance point right in the middle between, you want to spend time with, it's also like food is not just about the food. Most of it, in fact, where most people have trouble is with the social aspect of
Right.
food, right? You're out with friends, or in everybody's case right now, you're at home with your significant other or your roommates, whoever it might be, and you eat
You
together,
don't want to
right?
talk to them anymore. So you're like, what can I stuff in my
Don't
fucking
want to,
mouth? No.
so I don't have to talk to this sorry motherfucker
Yeah.
anymore. So yeah, I like that approach. It still allows you to uh, have that time with Jamie, which is
Hmm.
important for obvious reasons,
Hmm.
but doesn't totally throw you off of your health and fitness goals either.
Right. Okay. Well, Ty, I'm gonna let you go. All right.
Yes, sir.
But I hope I cut you to come back. I want to check back in with you on the pod, on how I'm doing, because I feel like it's cool. All you see is people. I want to talk about the actual process instead of I just post a picture. This is not, I just post a picture. Oh, here's what I look like with my shirt off. Blah blah blah. Like all the actual struggles of it, of someone who has fitness as part of my life and how I fit it into all the other shit I do.
Right.
Because I consider myself a regular guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
In the same way that I'm in watching the news and I'm like, I'm taking this in as I know a lot, but I'm also not going to pretend to know everything. I think in terms of that, like, hey, I'm a dude just trying to get jacked up, and here's what I'm doing. What do you think? So
Yeah.
right now, I've been checking my weight. My weight right now is I put on 4 pounds since the quarantine, which sucks.
4 pounds is pretty good, man.
Yeah. Well,
That's
people
real
are
good.
going
In
up higher
fact,
than that. You think people are going
oh,
up like 10 pounds
have,
already?
have you heard this term quarantine 15?
No, like that's like you
I,
say people are doing full semester of college, a full year
right,
of
yeah, yeah.
college.
Obviously, it's a reference to the freshman 15
Right.
that people usually see, but the quarantine 15 is certainly a thing. And yes, I have heard a lot more than 4 pounds gained during quarantine. And so, but again, like that's why I say if you can just maintain like where you're at during this, right, like a 4 pound weight gain is nothing. You can
Right.
get that off in like a week once we're back.
Right.
So yeah, and I like your idea about like documenting your progress and putting it in context because that's what I feel like a lot of people are missing around health and fitness is again feeling like, well, I gotta count how many grams of carbs
Right.
I'm eating a day. I don't want to go through all that shit. I
Right.
have a full-time job and 2 kids and a significant other and their mother is going to be visiting next week. I don't want to
Right.
count grams of carbs. I don't want to so all that, but there's so much space in between for stuff that you can still be doing to progress or again maintain if you're at that juncture in your life. And I think that's important for people to know. So
Yeah.
we'll
So
definitely check back in. Yeah.
right. So right now, here's where I'm at. I'm up 4 pounds. I'm still getting workouts in, but with almost no weights. I can see. I look in the mirror. I've shrunk in ways, and it's very hard to see for me because of the progress I put in, not because of being like in crazy vain or whatever. But let's check back in. The next time we'll have you back on. I don't know when, but Ty, I will get you back on here and. Thank you. I think you gave such. I think this information is going to help so many people. Like I think we're putting this stuff in more plain terms, and you do this great
Yeah.
on Jock Talk podcast. You check it out.
Thanks,
But
sir.
yeah, so check out Ty. What else do you want to plug? Jock Talk podcast with Cricket Hodges, amazing podcast.
Yep.
Go Tribe Gym if you're in Los Angeles, but they
Yes,
do a
sir.
lot of online, and they have all kinds of services that you
Yep.
can do remotely.
And Jog Talk Podcast, Go Tribe, Toluca Lake. We now have online options. We have a video on demand app now that's out you'll get workouts on your phone as well as health coaching, the same kind of health coaching that Dan's been getting from us for
Yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years now, something like that. Yeah, you can also hit me up on Instagram, Wilfredo. Wilfredo, I should tell the story really quickly.
Yeah.
Wilfredo is
Good.
my middle name. It
Yes.
is an odd name. It was my grandfather's name. He was Cuban. I was named after him.
Right.
So apparently it's Cuban, I guess. But anyway, Wilfredo, WILFREDO _fitness.
Right.
Hit me up on Instagram, DM me, comment, whatever.
Awesome. All right, Ty. Well, thanks for coming by. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. We'll talk again
All
soon.
right.
Bye, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.